All right, I'm back. How's everybody doing? This is L.A. Kendrick from the House of Havoc, the Crib of Chaos. Back with part two of Cowards Amongst the Pale. When we last spoke, Sharvis and his dad, Big Shar, were tracking this predator that has taken the bait of the deer that they had gutted out and hung up. And they'd actually brought in other little critters, but this thing was strong enough to take it off the line and drag it off. So they're tracking it. They're tracking the blood trail and the drag marks. And Big Shar is telling Sharvis what to look for as far as footprints, drag marks, how to determine if there's a group predatory attack going on, which can be very confusing and complicated. So he shows him how to identify what's going on in front of him. And he takes his time, and he's actually moving pretty slow. He could actually have covered the ground and cleared the ground upon this predatory animal a lot sooner, a lot quicker. But he's teaching his son on the way what to look for. What to look for, and he even shows him how to smell the air to get the scent of what's going on, how to listen with his ears. Don't just rely on your eyes. It's a lot of things that go into tracking things. And so Sharvis is looking and taking it all in, and he's really impressed at how sharp his dad is when it comes to this kind of thing. I mean, he knows his dad is pretty good with outdoor life and stuff like that, but this is really making him appreciate his dad a lot more. So his dad is always preaching to him as well, staying physically fit. Now his dad is about 6'6", 6'8", big dude, quick, flexible, agile, strong as all get up, very intelligent, and pretty much in tune with his environment at all times. And that again impresses his dad. So his dad is talking to him. Big Shar is talking to him, and he's letting him know, hey, we're closing in on it. And he kind of whispers and talks to him really low. So Sharvis is like, okay, what do I need to look for now, Dad? He said, well, let me let you on a little story. This thing we're tracking is not something that you're used to seeing. It's not a predator, it's not a coyote, it's not a mountain lion, it's not any of those kind of things. This is something different. What do you mean, Dad? And he tells him, it's like a mosquito because it's got this long face and it tears chunks of flesh out of whatever victim that it has. It either sucks the blood or just keeps taking chunks of flesh out until there's nothing left. And they usually attack in groups. Every now and then you get a rogue one. Well, where did they come from? Not sure. Big Shar says, but I think that they came over with vampires. Like, they're like little larvae, and then they grow up, after eating off the flesh after the vampires have been eaten on, or when they're standing in in their coffin overnight, the dirt has brought these worms or larvae or whatever you want to call it, and they mutate from that. And they really, really are helpful to the vampires because they come back to the vampires, and the vampires either feed on them or they extract the blood from these mosquito hybrid vampire things. Don't know what the names are, but I've been killing a lot of them here lately. So I'm teaching you how to do it. It's a family business. What do you mean? We've been doing this for generations. And if we hadn't, things like these would spill over and just overrun the country. So this is a family business, and I'm teaching you the ropes. And as soon as he says this, he tells his son, get down. And they look ahead, and they don't pick up very well on the FLIR, the forward-looking infrared goggles, because the body temperature is too cold. They can't see it, but they can smell it and they can hear it. Now the night vision goggles, Big Shar hands to Sharpson says, now look ahead. And he looks ahead and you can see it feeding. So Big Sharp pulls out a machete, silver plated, sharp, razor sharp. And he tells his son, you just stand right here for a few minutes. You just stand here while I make the first kill. You see anything coming out, use that bow, okay? And Sharpson says, yes, Dad, I'll do that. So Big Shar closes in without making a sound. And the mosquito hybrid jumps up. Big eyes. And then the eyes go into like a squint. It's almost like slits. And it's like it didn't have any eyes at that point. And it makes its move, and Big Shar takes off its hand. It runs back in pain, and then Big Shar cuts it right in half. Now, these creatures have an allergic reaction to silver. And it's just like a vampire. Whatever affects a vampire affects them. Sunlight, the whole nine. And so Big Shar tells him, come on over here and look at it and check it out. Because he's, there's something left. And won't be there long. Because the allergic reaction will start making it break up and burn up. And that's the only difference. Their death is a lot slower than the vampires. So Sharvis looks with his dad, and he looks down. He says, look at the face, look at how pale the skin is. These things come from a very, very cold and damaging environment. So that's why they're fierce like this. And he said, normally they come in packs. So Big Shar starts looking around and smelling the air. And he tells him, this is unusual. This may be a rogue, and I told you about the rogues that might be out here, but this is unusual because I think there are more here. And Sharvis says, where, Dad, where? And then Big Shar says, they're moving in right now. They're all around us. He said, how many? He says, I believe 4. So out of nowhere, one of them jumps out of the bushes and it pounces on Sharvis. And it wants to bite him in the neck, but when he tries to, the garlic oil that he had put on his body earlier repels it. It jumps off and it's covering its face and its eyes are burning, almost like it's been pepper sprayed. And Big Shar cuts his head off with the sword, with his machete. The body slowly burns up and disintegrates, slowly. The head's the last thing to go. And the other ones come out of the bushes. The other 3 come out of the bushes. And Sharvis says, look out, Dad. And he takes his bow and arrow and he pops one right between the eyes. And these things are vicious. Big Shar, with his size, grabs one of them and just slams it head first into the ground. And while he's holding one of the legs, he splits it right down the middle with the machete. Cuts it right down the middle and throws the 2 body parts in opposite directions. And then the other one tries to come out. The final one tries to come out. And Big Shar just cuts its legs off, stabs it in the back, and that's the end of that one. And Big Shar says, this is how they attack you. They come in groups. You make sure that you're always paying attention to your surroundings and make sure you have the weapons and the tools to do the job. Well, Dad, you made this look easy. He said, no, son, this is just years of experience of doing this. This isn't easy. And the sad part is there's usually a prime motivator somewhere around as well. So we have to be careful for that. Well, is there one around, Dad? Sharvis asks his dad. And Big Shar says, yeah. We got to track it and we got to kill it. So they go forward, looking for a nesting spot. And then they come up on a cave. And it's got bones and of animals and parts of animals strewn out all about the area. And it smells horrible. And Sharvis is like, Dad, what's that awful smell? And Big Shar says, anything you can think of will be in there. Missing hikers, animals, because these things they do not discriminate. They kill any and everything that comes in their path. They're scavengers and very, very predatorial. And as soon as he says that, there's a high-pitched shrill that comes from the cave opening. And it scares Sharvis. And Big Shar just turns and looks at his son and says, time to finish this. And Sharvis says, okay, Dad, I'm ready, I'm with you. As they both slowly turn, Big Shar is all too excited to engage this thing in battle. Sharvis is learning his dad has a lot of secrets. And hopefully if they get out of this, they'll be able to share some of the secrets that are filling his mind now, questions that are filling his mind now, as if to say, who is my dad and where's this superhero been all my life? They hear another loud shriek from the opening, and they proceed to the opening. As it gets dark as they go inside, it gets a little darker, so they turn on their headlamps, prepared to do battle with the mosquito vampiric hybrid. I'm going to leave it right there. And this is L.A. Kendrick from the House of Havoc, the Crib of Chaos. And this is part 2 of Cowards Amongst the Pale. You guys feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. I have published work already out on Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, Ingram, Kindle, and Nook. This is a hobby of mine, copyright 2020. Just try to make sure that this year has some positive outlooks on it and some imaginary getaways. So use your imagination when you're looking at this. When you're looking at the video and you're hearing the stories. Just use your imagination like you did when you were younger. Let it run wild, man. It's a beautiful thing about imagination. You always have it, but if you don't use it, it will diminish greatly. I have a Cash App, $outrage95. Feel free to donate $1 or $2 here and there if you enjoy the work and you appreciate what I'm trying to do. Be greatly appreciated. Thanks in advance. And this has been L.A. Kendrick. Remember, check the dark recesses of your home. Check your closets. Check under your beds. And if you happen to work at night, check your surroundings in the building and outside of the building. And check under your cars. Don't be lazy, because you never know what's lurking in the dark, waiting to make you a story. And this has been L.A. Kendrick, bringing you the heavy.